Good morning. It is Friday, June 14th. Time for the fifth and final video. My censored world. Sense returning as the pendulum swings. Gonna start things off with what's most important to me politically. Gonna talk about Johnna Holmgren's book, Tales from Forager's Kitchen. And then finishing up on alternative social media examples that I'm trying out or thinking about trying out or coming out, including Minds, Gab, ThinkSpot, and BitChute. So what previously, and I've mentioned this, I think, was most important to me politically was reforming the campaign finance in the United States, addressing corporate personhood, and looking at something like ranked choice and runoff voting, and looking at removing lobbyists' ability to fund candidates. If a lobbyist wants to get a politician to agree with them, they have to use their words. They can't use money. They can't simply pay for their opinion to gain weight, or at least there should be a law that blocks it directly. So that was my most important thing. That's what drove when I thought about issues politically, when I thought through them logically. Wasn't my passion. My passions, as I mentioned, is more the intersect between technology and the environment. But when I thought about things logically, as I was doing my local political volunteerism, it's what kept me in the Green Party and helping them out, was work on campaign finance reform. That has been supplanted by concerns with free speech. Free speech is now my number one, and campaign finance reform is my number two. So with that in mind, I read to you a poem I wrote that is an epigraph for one of the chapters of my new book, but I think it also applies here. An epigraph is like a quote or something that you put at the beginning of a chapter in a book. If you will deny daylight, how can I point to the sun? Your mind is a dogmatic masterpiece of delusion. I would kill you where you stand to destroy this infection. Equality of outcome, it won't die with martyrdom. So I try again with sense. The race, how many have won? Equal opportunity means there can only be one. If you dare claim day is night, prove your censure with action. Go blind, staring at moonlight. The righteous lie is undone. So I'll include the text, and I added a syllable where it shouldn't have been, but the text should all line up, the right number of syllables and rhyming. Hopefully I didn't miss a line. And the next, I'll let it stand for itself and let it be interpreted as it will. The next, Johnna Holmgren's book, Tales from Forager's Kitchen. A book censored, removed, erased, deleted, destroyed for fear, for reasons of fear. And I wrote a nice long article about that, about on my site, which I'll include a link, where I have a copy of the book. I look through the concerns, the reasons on the surface why it's been deleted. Now, I like this example of censorship because it's not something to do with conservative or liberal, at least not directly. It's not a easy attack. It doesn't, people from the left and the right can both be on, see the points of view around this book of censoring it or not censoring it. And my local libraries and bookstores have removed it. And I don't just mean removed it to like a used place, but destroyed it. erased it from existence as a danger to society. And it's based on fear. People posting about the book after it had been published, after it had been published, posting about concerns with mushroom toxicity and acorns not being leached of their tannic properties. It's been a while it's been almost a year since I wrote the article and dived in on it. So I don't remember all the details. I think there were 3 concerns that were referenced in the destruction, the eradication of this book. And I looked into them, and my considered opinion is that it's bullshit. There is no good reason, no justifiable reason for its censor. The people doing so are acting impulsively, acting cowardly, and they are not standing up for the principles of free speech, for the principles of... Anyway, I have strong feelings, obviously. It's worth, if you can find a book, look at it, judge for yourself, examine my article. I've taken some pictures of relevant parts of the book and decorated them, made them little pieces of art. So it is certain, like layers of fair use. I am commenting on it, I am decorating it, and also it doesn't exist. So what claim can be had on something that doesn't exist anymore? It should not have been removed. So it's up to the publisher. Okay, they can remove it from more being published. They can request that it be removed for fear of being sued or whatever. But it's up to the libraries. It's up to the individual bookstores. They don't have to destroy it. They made that conscious choice, and they did so, in my view, because they were fearful and did not stand by their principles, if they have them. Finally, alternative social media. It has arrived, it is taking hold, and it is growing, slow but growing. I'm already using Minds and Gab, but I'm not really participating in the community, just posting my stuff there as I do on Twitter, and I don't really participate in Twitter, just posting my stuff, my videos, a few poems or whatnot, my creations there. And I'm not really engaging with the community much. And BitChute is the video alternative to YouTube. When I tried it out 9 months ago, I think there was a charge or something. Anyway, I've just tried uploading a book review video, a rapid fire book review video there, and we'll see. I think it's free now to upload videos in a limited fashion. And BitChute is potentially more resilient than YouTube because it's something like torrent. It's like a shared. I'm not a tech savvy person, I would say. I'm not going to try to explain it more than take a look, and I believe it's a dispersed strain, not a corporation focused centralized service. So BitChute potential alternative to YouTube, Minds and Gab potential alternatives to Facebook and Twitter maybe. Also, Jordan Peterson, the famous academic from Canada, and a lot more besides, is starting up something called ThinkSpot. I tried to find the recent podcast with Joe Rogan where he introduced it, but it seems that it has been erased. Perhaps some censorship, some ironic censorship happening there. I've not seen any articles yet about that podcast not being available anymore. So I was not able to review his introduction directly, though I did look at commentary about it. ThinkSpot is what I believe it's what was promised by Jordan Peterson when he left Patreon. and to work on creating an alternative after Patreon kicked Sargon of Akkad, the real names, but he's a YouTuber known as Sargon of Akkad. Got kicked off of Patreon, the company that helps you get money as a creator. And in protest, or with concern about why, and the lack of transparency, or the lack of just following through with their own guidelines, and various other concerns, Jordan Peterson and others, Sam Harris, I think, was one of the first big names, pulled off of Patreon because of Patreon's censorship. And I hope ThinkSpot is successful. It's getting mainstream. Is it really right to call them mainstream? The well-known websites reporting on ThinkSpot are consistently lying. They're saying Jordan Peterson is alt-right. With what alt-right currently means, that's simply not accurate. If you view his content, if you watch him speak, it's clear that it's not accurate. So there's smearing. Slander is spoken. I always get those. Slander and libel. Slander sounds like it's spoken. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, either way, they are lying about this guy. It's fear. Like, censorship doesn't, like I was saying last week, censorship ultimately doesn't work. Not in a free society. If it's free speech and a liberal society, they go together. China is not going to have a successful society in the modern era if they don't embrace free speech. They can make it into a different kind of era. They've got the oomph for that. 1.4 billion, whatever, ridiculous numbers of people. With them cracking down on Hong Kong, trying to bring them in line. It's gonna end badly. Like that. That's what World War III might be about. Free speech. It's gonna be an interesting world that my son grows up in. So I think that's it. Censorship is such a huge topic right now. Only 5 videos can't do it justice. But from my perspective, signing off, and it will continue to be my number one issue, free speech. Have a good one.